Imagine you're a detective. The crime scene is a vault. The victim is the world's largest gold reserve. And the suspect, possibly the most powerful government on Earth. This is the story of how America's gold, the greatest single hoard ever assembled in human history, quietly, suspiciously, and almost silently, vanished by half, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Welcome to the case file. Let's start from the beginning. The highest historic gold holdings at Fort Knox were recorded on December 31st, 1941, a staggering 649.6 million ounces. At its peak, America's nationalized gold reserve accounted for almost 1 in 4 ounces ever mined in world history. One country, one vault. 1/4 of all the gold humanity had ever pulled out of the ground. That's not a piggy bank, that's a dragon's lair. So what happened to it? Before we get to the disappearing act, we need to know how the gold got there. Because this story doesn't start with a theft. It starts with a president and an executive order. It's 1933. The Great Depression is grinding America into dust. Banks are collapsing, people are starving, and Roosevelt's Executive Order 6102 required American citizens to surrender their gold in exchange for paper currency. Owning gold became essentially illegal, and all that gold needed somewhere to live. Construction of the facility completed in December 1936, with the first shipment arriving in January 1937, transported via U.S. mail under armed guard. The U.S. Postal Service. Delivering gold. You genuinely cannot make this stuff up. Fort Knox was born. Massive granite walls, a bomb-proof roof, a 22-ton vault door. No single individual knows all the procedures to open it. For a time, it was the most powerful symbol of American dominance on the planet. Now, here's where things get suspicious, because that mountain of gold didn't stay put. Clue number 1, the Great Drain. U.S. gold reserves quadrupled from 1933 to 1941, then halved by 1970. The reason? The Bretton Woods system, the global arrangement that made the dollar the world's reserve currency, backed by gold at $35 per ounce. In 1944, 44 Allied nations designed a new monetary order. America was the anchor, the dollar as good as gold. Literally. Which sounds great until you see the trap. Under Johnson and Nixon, the Fed injected new money to cover war costs and social programs. More dollars printed, same gold backing them. Foreign governments figured this out and started cashing in their dollars for the real thing. French President Georges Pompidou sent a ship to New York to retrieve French gold deposits. A ship! France literally sailed across the Atlantic to collect before the system collapsed. That's not conspiracy theory, that's a rational actor taking his chips off the table before the casino burns down. Clue number 2. The night Nixon pulled the plug. By 1971, the U.S. held roughly 584 tons, down from nearly 20 at its post-war peak. More than half gone. On August 15, 1971, Nixon went on national television and unilaterally ended the convertibility of the dollar to gold. He called it temporary. The gold window was never reopened. No international consultation, no warning. Just one Sunday night broadcast, and the greatest gold-backed financial system in history was dead. Now, here's where the detective story turns dark. After 1971, the gold stops moving, officially. Since the mid-1970s, U.S. reserves have been reported stable at 133 tons. 50 years, same number. Which would be fine, except nobody has actually checked. Clue number 3, the audit that wasn't. The last full public audit of Fort Knox was in 1953. Over 70 years ago, the year Stalin died, the year DNA was discovered. The government will point to a 1974 inspection when the Treasury opened just one of its 15 vault compartments for politicians and reporters. 1 out of 15. None of the bars were matched to serial numbers, assayed for purity, or verified as U.S. holdings. That's not an audit, that's a field trip. A theatrical field trip designed to quiet uncomfortable questions. And some reports from that process have since gone missing. Reports missing from a government depository. Clue number 4, the gold that doesn't qualify. Even if all the gold is technically there, a huge portion may be essentially worthless on the international market. The bulk of Fort Knox's reserves are impure, non-standard bars that don't qualify for international settlements. They came from melting Depression-era coins, and that process produces gold of considerably lower quality than the good delivery standard used in global trade. America may be sitting on a vault full of gold the world's financial system wouldn't accept. That's like a safe full of currency from countries that no longer exist. Clue number 5. The lease theory. Even if the gold is there, some portion may be legally encumbered through contractual leases, paper agreements, where the same physical bar has been used as collateral for multiple contracts simultaneously. The gold sits in the vault but is legally obligated to someone else. Meanwhile, U.S. gold is still carried on the books at the 1973 statutory price of $42.22 per ounce. With gold trading around $5 per ounce in early 2026, that accounting value of $11 billion represents a market value of roughly $1.3 trillion. The U.S. government books assets worth over $1 trillion at 1970s prices. That's either the world's greatest accounting oversight, or it's deliberate. Clue number 6. The political theater. In early 2025, Trump announced plans to audit Fort Knox. Musk offered to video it. For a brief moment, it looked like someone was actually going to open the door and count the bars. Then, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent assured the public that all the gold is present and accounted for. Trump and Musk suddenly stopped talking about it. No audit, no video, no follow-through. The vault stayed shut. In June 2025, Congressman Thomas Massie introduced the Gold Reserve Transparency Act, calling for an independent audit requiring physical assay and inventory of all U.S. gold every 5 years, plus disclosure of all gold-related transactions over the past 50 years, including loans, leases, swaps, and encumbrances. H.R. 3795 was referred to the House Committee on Financial Services, where it has remained pending. The pattern holds, so let's recap the evidence. The gold peaked at 649.6 million ounces in 1941. By 1971, more than half had drained away through Cold War spending, foreign redemptions, and deficit financing. The last real audit was 1953. The 1974 inspection covered one vault out of 15, with no serial numbers checked and no purity tested. Reports have gone missing. Much of what remains may not meet international standards. A lease theory suggests some gold may be legally encumbered multiple times over. And every time serious momentum builds for transparency, it mysteriously stalls. When an institution holding over $1 trillion of public assets refuses independent verification for 7 decades, the burden of proof doesn't lie with the people asking questions. It lies with the people refusing to answer them. Here's the cold truth at the bottom of this case file. We don't know exactly what's in Fort Knox. Not with the kind of independent, serial number checked, purity tested certainty any serious financial institution would demand. The gold may all be there. It probably is. But probably is a strange word to use about the financial backbone of the global economy. The mystery isn't that someone stole the gold like a movie villain. It's quieter and somehow more disturbing. It's that the most powerful country on Earth decided at some point that it simply didn't need to prove it anymore. And that, more than any heist, is the thing that should keep you up at night. If this story made you look twice at the financial world you thought you understood, hit subscribe because we're just getting started. Drop your theories in the comments. Do you think the gold is all there? Will the audit ever happen? And share this with someone who still thinks the world's financial system is an open book, because clearly some books have very locked covers.